Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching Japan Sinks 2020, which was animated by Science Saru and directed by Masaaki Yuasa. In fact, this is going to be the last series he's going to direct for a little while he takes a much-deserved break, or maybe that'll actually be his retirement for all we know. Now, Japan Sinks is based on a 1970s science fiction novel of the same name, which is a story about being struck by a series of earthquakes that have the entire island country ending up being forced into the ocean. And central to the plot are the Muto family, who have to survive while going through Japan with various other characters as they try to survive the disaster and also find a way to to move on to the future despite everyone dying around them. Now, the premise for the series is actually really interesting considering the natural disaster genre. While it was mostly pretty prevalent during the 1990s, this movie seems to have a lot of the strengths and weaknesses of those 90s disaster films. That being that the characters range from being well developed and interesting to being one note and cliched. The animation can range from being really impressive, especially for a Netflix anime, to being downright amateurish, and the pacing can range from being well done for the scenes to lasting far too long. The series is pretty inconsistent on almost all fronts. But then what can you expect when in your penultimate episode you have a rap scene out of nowhere that manages to be both funny and also kind of tragic? The tone shifting all over the place is probably the series' biggest overall problem, as scenes can range from from a tragic death scene to a random bit of comedic relief that sometimes hits but most of the time just causes mood whiplash out of nowhere. That's not to say that there aren't talented people working on the film, considering that the English dub, which has Faye Mata, Keith Silverstein, Doug Stone, Alex Lee, Billy Kometz, and among others, they're certainly talented and they're dealing with the material the best way they can. But good acting can only get you as far as a good script. And the script, while it isn't terrible, certainly could have dealt with a few rewrites, in my opinion. When it comes to how many times the tone shifts, and how many times the animation ranges from being well drawn and well realized in the same respect as Yuasa's work in Devilman Crybaby or Keep Your Hands Off Azoken, to being amateurish still images that pepper certain parts of the production, especially in the 10th episode's epilogue. And with these stills not even fading out or transitioning properly. So it almost feels like Yuasa and Studio Science Saru had outsourced some of the work to get the series finished up. On top of that, the music of the series, while it sometimes tries to strike the tone of Devilman Crybaby, it doesn't exactly work in the same way, because Devilman Crybaby was a series that was clearly heavily stylized fantasy with a heart, whereas this is a natural disaster story. So one can actually happen in reality, the other cannot. So when it came to Devilman Crybaby's strange artistic and music choices, I was fine with it considering that they were part of Yuasa's vision and because they happened to fit with the tonally inconsistent world of Devilman Crybaby. But in Japan Sinks, since a lot of it is played up for real drama with things that could really happen in real life, sometimes it doesn't have the intended effect that it should have when it comes to the drama or when it comes to you caring about the characters. Still, I do think parts of the story do work The start of the series is very dramatic and very effective at getting your attention, and the ending is perfectly bittersweet for the story they're trying to tell. But certain aspects of the series, especially the Shan City arc in the middle of the production, could have either been cut out or trimmed down a bit. I do think Keep Your Hands Off Azoken is probably the better overall production, but if you do need a series to watch and you don't mind some relevant and rather heartbreaking moments, I think Japan Sinks 2020 should be able to get some entertainment value out of you. And that's why I'm going to give Japan Sinks 2020 a 7 out of 10. See you next time.